This is Tuesday, September 16th, 49 days until the 2008 presidential election. Our sister network, CNBC, having reported that the Fed has agreed to extend an $85 billion loan to the insurance giant AIG in exchange for an 80% stake in the company. Thus tonight, as the Wall Street Wild West meltdown worsens, Senator McCain is having dinner with two families in Youngstown, Ohio. After economist and columnist Paul Krugman compared his approach on this program and his language to that of President Herbert Hoover at the start of the Great Depression, no word yet on whether the menu at that dinner tonight consisted of a chicken in every pot. Our fifth story in the countdown, the Democratic nominee rolled out a plan to try to address the crisis spreading outwards from the mortgage industry. The Republican nominee admitted he had oversight over every part of the economy that has hemorrhaged. He called for a long-term study of some sort. Senator McCain still insisting to anybody who will listen, as he did on the Today Show this morning, that the fundamentals of the U.S. economy are strong, and that for the first time in the history of the English language, by saying fundamentals, somebody meant people. In this case, the American workers. So if you disagree with him about the strength of those fundamentals, you're insulting them. And also, we can fix the economic upheaval, but first we need to appoint a commission, much like the 9/11 Commission, to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. But the fundamentals, they are strong.
There's nothing wrong with the workers of America. I believe that they're the fundamentals. You may not, others may not. I think that the worker of America is the reason why we've been the preeminent economy in the world for a long, long period of time. America is in crisis today because of greed, excess, and corruption, and people walking away with pay packages for failed enterprises, and inside the Beltway old boy network that led to the kind of corruption that we've seen, and the patchwork quilt, the alphabet soup of regulatory agencies, which has never been reformed. And we need a 9/11 commission, and we need a commission to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. And I know we can do that, and I'll do it. And we've had enough.
Enough of what exactly? The alphabet soup of regulatory agencies? In March of this year, Senator McCain having told the Wall Street Journal, quoting, "I'm always for less regulation, but I am aware of the view that there is a need for government oversight, but I am fundamentally a deregulator. I'd like to see a lot of the unnecessary government regulations eliminated." You might think McCain would be backing away from that statement as quickly as he is attempting to redefine the fundamentals of the U.S. economy, but back to the Today Show where that did not seem to be the case.
Of course I don't like excessive and unnecessary government regulation. Ask any American citizen who is subject to bureaucracies.
This from the candidate who admits that the economy is not his strong suit and was asked about that deficiency in his resume this morning on CBS.
Let me ask you this. Earlier this year on the campaign trail, you said, or you admitted, that you didn't know a lot about the economy. Why should voters trust you in these perilous times with the economy of the United States?
You know, that's one of the interesting things about having long conversations. The point is, I was chairman of the Commerce Committee. Every part of America's economy I oversighted.
He seems to actually be taking credit for the lack of oversight, which would seem to be the problem here. Fact, a decade ago, Senator McCain having attempted unsuccessfully to push through a moratorium on all federal regulations. Fact, the man who drafted McCain's current economic policy, former Senator Phil Gramm, in 2000, having authored a piece of legislation called the Commodity Futures Modernization Act, which kept derivatives and much of the high-end investment market off limits to regulators, helping to induce this current crisis. Fact, Senator McCain having yet to cite a single specific way in which he would fix the current crisis, and according to him, we haven't yet figured out what went wrong. His opponent, meanwhile, with a 6-point plan that he first unveiled during the primaries that would regulate investment banks, much in the same way that commercial banks are currently regulated. This morning in Colorado, Senator Obama outlining what he has done and would do still.
In February of 2006, I introduced legislation to stop mortgage transactions that promoted fraud, risk, or abuse. A year later, before the crisis hit, I warned Secretary Paulson at the Treasury and Chairman Bernanke of the Fed about the risks of mounting foreclosures and urged them to bring together all the stakeholders to find solutions to the subprime mortgage meltdown. Senator McCain did nothing. Last September, I stood up at NASDAQ and said it's time to realize that we are in this together, that there is no dividing line between Wall Street and Main Street, and warned of a growing loss of trust in our capital markets. Months later, Senator McCain told a newspaper that he'd love to give them a solution to the mortgage crisis, but, and I quote, "I don't know one." In January, I outlined a plan to help revive our faltering economy, which formed the basis for a bipartisan stimulus package that passed the Congress. Senator McCain used the crisis as an excuse to push a so-called stimulus plan that offered another huge and permanent corporate tax cut, including $4 billion for the big oil companies, but no immediate help for workers. This March, in the wake of the Bear Stearns bailout, I called for a new 21st century regulatory framework to restore accountability, transparency, and trust in our financial markets. Just a few weeks earlier, Senator McCain made it clear where he stands. Quote, "I'm always for less regulation," unquote, and referred to himself as, quote, "fundamentally a deregulator." This is what happens when you confuse the free market with a free license to let special interests take whatever they get, however they can get it.